Hello, welcome back to another evening of shared stories and adventures. Tonight, we're diving deep into the twisted, fascinating world of Dexter Morgan, America's favourite serial killer. Whether you're a long-time fan revisiting the lore or discovering it for the first time, settle in. We've got hours of content ahead. We'll start with Dexter's horrific origin story, the traumatic event that shaped everything he became. Then we'll explore Harry's code, the moral framework that turned a would-be monster into something different. We'll walk through his life in Miami, his relationships, his kills, and the major villains who pushed him to his limits. Then we'll cover his reinvention in upstate New York with Dexter, New Blood. And finally, we'll explore his early years in Dexter, Original Sin, the prequel series showing how it all began. Plenty to cover. If you like what I do here and want to support the channel, consider subscribing. But for now, get comfortable, maybe grab a drink, and let's begin. Before Dexter Morgan became the meticulous blood spatter analyst we know, before Harry's code, before Miami Metro, there was a shipping container. And inside that container, something unspeakable happened that would forge one of the most unique killers in television history. It's 1973, Miami, Florida. Laura Moser is a confidential informant working with the Miami Police Department, specifically with Officer Harry Morgan. She's been embedded in Hector Estrada's drug cartel, a dangerous operation that's flooded Miami with narcotics and violence. Laura isn't a cop. She's a CI, which means she's vulnerable, expendable in the eyes of the law. But Harry has developed feelings for her, though he's married to Doris Morgan, and they have a young daughter, Deborah. Laura has 2 young sons. Brian is around 4 or 5 years old, and Dexter is barely 3. These boys have no idea their mother is living a double life, feeding information to the police about one of Miami's most dangerous drug lords. The setup is precarious. Laura wears wires to meetings. She reports on shipments, on murders, on the inner workings of a criminal empire. Harry keeps telling her it'll be over soon, that they'll make the arrest and she'll be free. But Santos Jimenez, Estrada's enforcer and right-hand man, has been watching Laura. He's suspicious. In the drug world, paranoia keeps you alive, and Jimenez has survived this long by trusting no one. He starts following Laura, tracking her movements, watching who she talks to. The moment comes when Jimenez confirms his suspicions. Laura is an informant. She's been betraying them for over a year. Estrada gives the order, and Jimenez moves fast. He and his crew ambush Laura and her 2 boys at their house. There's a struggle. Brian tries to protect his little brother. Laura screams, but they're overpowered, subdued, and thrown into a van. They're taken to a shipping yard near the port of Miami. It's night. The container yard is massive. Rows and rows of metal boxes stacked like building blocks, most of them empty or filled with legitimate cargo. But one container has been prepared for something else entirely. Inside are other people, other victims of Estrada's organization. Some are rival dealers, some are informants like Laura, some are just people who saw too much or said the wrong thing. Laura and her 2 sons are shoved inside. The door slams shut. The only light comes through small ventilation holes near the top. It's hot. Miami in the summer is oppressive, and inside a metal container with no airflow, it's suffocating. The boys are terrified. Brian holds Dexter close. Laura tries to comfort them, but she knows what's coming. She's heard stories about what Estrada does to people who betray him. Hector Estrada himself shows up. He's a man who's built an empire through fear and violence, and he needs to send a message. He confronts Laura about her betrayal. She doesn't deny it. What would be the point? She apologizes, begs for her sons' lives, offers to do anything if he'll just let the boys go. Estrada refuses. Everyone in that container is already dead. It's just a matter of when. He gives the order to Santos Jimenez, and that's when the nightmare truly begins. Jimenez has a chainsaw. The sound of it starting up in that enclosed space is deafening, terrifying. Laura desperately tries to cover her children's eyes. to shield them from what's about to happen, but it's impossible. The space is too small. There's nowhere to look, nowhere to hide. Jimenez begins with one of the other victims. The screaming starts immediately. The chainsaw cuts through bone and flesh. Blood sprays everywhere. The smell is overwhelming, a mixture of gasoline from the chainsaw, blood, sweat, and terror. Laura is sobbing, holding her boys, knowing they're witnessing something no child should ever see. One by one, Jimenez works through the victims in that container. The process is methodical, horrifying, designed to maximize fear in those still waiting. Laura knows she'll be last. She knows her boys will watch her die. And she's right. When Jimenez finally turns to her, she looks at her sons one last time. Brian is crying silently. Dexter isn't crying at all. His eyes are wide, unblinking, staring. He's 3 years old, and he's watching his mother get torn apart. The chainsaw roars. Laura's screaming stops. And then there's just the sound of the saw, the wet sounds of dismemberment, and the ragged breathing of 2 traumatized children sitting in an expanding pool of their mother's blood. When it's done, Jimenez and his crew leave. They seal the container and walk away. They don't kill the boys. Maybe it's mercy. Maybe it's cruelty. Maybe they assume the boys won't survive anyway. Locked in a metal box in the Miami heat, with no food or water, surrounded by dismembered corpses. 3 days pass. Harry Morgan has been frantically searching for Laura. She missed a check-in, then another. He knows something's wrong. He organises search parties, he calls in favours. He's a cop, but he's also a man in love with a woman who's vanished along with her children. Captain Spencer, Harry's superior, helps coordinate the search despite knowing about Harry's affair. They search the shipping yards based on intelligence that Estrada's crew has been using them for meetings. It takes time. There are thousands of containers, but eventually they find it. When they open the door, the smell hits them first. 3 days of decomposition in Miami heat. Then they see the scene inside. The adult victims are clearly dead. Their bodies in various states of dismemberment. But in the back corner, sitting in a pool of dried blood, are 2 small boys. Brian is curled around Dexter protectively. Both are alive, though barely. They're dehydrated, sunburned from the heat, catatonic from trauma. Harry sees the boys and immediately recognises them as Laura's children. He's seen photos. He's heard about them. Seeing them like this, covered in their mother's blood, surrounded by the evidence of what they witnessed, breaks something in him. He calls for medical assistance, wraps the boys in blankets, carries them out of that container himself. At the hospital, doctors tend to their physical needs. Dehydration, malnutrition, minor injuries. But the psychological damage is immeasurable. Neither boy is speaking. Brian occasionally responds to questions with nods or shakes of his head. Dexter doesn't respond at all. He stares. His eyes are empty. The doctors use terms like dissociative state and severe trauma. Child Protective Services gets involved. The boy's father is in prison and has renounced his parental rights. There are no other family members willing or able to take them. Harry Morgan makes a decision that will define the rest of his life and the lives of these 2 boys. He and his wife Doris agree to become foster parents to Brian and Dexter. They already have Deborah, who's still very young herself, but Harry feels responsible. Laura was his informant. He put her in danger. Her death is on him. Even if he didn't pull the trigger or wield the chainsaw, taking in her sons is the least he can do. The boys move into the Morgan home. Brian is older and more aware of what's happened. He remembers his mother. He remembers the container. He remembers everything, and it's twisted him into something dark and dangerous. Dexter is younger. His memories of before the container are hazy. What he remembers clearly is the blood, the sounds, the feeling of sitting in his mother's remains for days. The problems with Brian start almost immediately. Doris is warm and loving, trying to help these traumatized boys adjust to a normal home. But Brian isn't responding well. He's aggressive, violent, unpredictable. One night, Baby Deborah is crying in her crib, and Brian goes into her room. Doris finds him standing over Deborah with a pillow, about to smother her to make the crying stop. Harry intervenes, pulls Brian away, tries to talk to him, to understand what's happening in his head. But Brian lashes out. He attacks Harry, screaming, breaking things. He smashes a window with his bare hands. The boy's 5 years old, and he's exhibiting behaviour that terrifies his foster parents. Harry tries to get him help, but it becomes clear that Brian is a danger to Deborah. As much as it pains them, Harry and Doris make the agonising decision to send Brian away. A social worker named Barbara comes to take Brian to a facility that specialises in traumatised children. Brian understands what's happening. He's being separated from his brother, the one person who shared his trauma, who understands what they went through. He begs to stay. He promises to be good. But the decision has been made. Barbara takes Brian away, and Dexter watches his brother leave, not understanding fully but sensing that something important has been taken from him. Harry and Doris keep Dexter. He's younger, quieter, less overtly violent. They convince themselves he can be helped, that with love and structure and therapy, he can recover from what he witnessed. They're wrong, but they don't know that yet. Dexter is different from other children. He doesn't cry. He doesn't laugh. He mimics emotions when he sees other people express them. But there's nothing behind his eyes. It's like the trauma locked away everything human inside him, and what emerged was something else, something cold, something empty, something that watches and waits. Harry starts to notice things. Small animals go missing in the neighbourhood. A cat disappears, then a dog. Harry finds Dexter in the garage one day, and there's blood on his hands, a vacant look on his face. Harry asks what happened. Dexter explains calmly that the neighbour's dog wouldn't stop barking. It was keeping Doris up at night. She was sick. The dog had to stop, so Dexter made it stop. Harry is horrified. This isn't normal childhood behaviour. This isn't even normal disturbed behaviour. This is something worse. He takes Dexter to therapists. They diagnose him with various conditions, adjust medications, try different approaches. Nothing works. Nothing reaches whatever is inside Dexter. As Dexter grows older, Harry realises the full scope of what they're dealing with. His son is a sociopath. He has no empathy, no remorse, no emotional connection to other people. And worse, he has urges, dark urges, violent urges. The need to kill is growing inside him. And Harry knows that eventually, Dexter will act on those urges. The question becomes what to do about it. Most parents would institutionalize their child at this point. Maybe try experimental treatments, maybe hope for a breakthrough. Harry Morgan does something unprecedented. He decides to channel Dexter's darkness. If Dexter is going to kill, and Harry believes he will, then Harry will teach him to kill the right people. People who deserve it. People who slip through the cracks of the justice system. This is the birth of what will become known as the Code of Harry. It's a set of rules, a framework, a way to turn a monster into something that at least serves a purpose. Harry knows it's insane. He knows he's creating a serial killer, but he also knows his son, knows what's inside him, and believes this is the only way to keep Dexter from becoming a true monster, killing innocent people indiscriminately. The code starts simple. Don't get caught. This is the foundation of everything. Dexter must maintain his normal life, blend in, be above suspicion. He must learn to fake emotions he doesn't feel, to mimic normal human behaviour so convincingly that no one ever suspects what he really is. The second rule is only kill those who deserve it. This is the moral justification, the thing that separates Dexter from other serial killers. His victims must be murderers themselves, people who have killed and will kill again, people the justice system failed to stop. Before every kill, Dexter must research extensively. He needs proof. Crime scene photos, victim lists, patterns, irrefutable evidence of murder. The third rule is no witnesses. This seems obvious, but it's harder than it sounds. Dexter must kill in complete isolation. No cameras, no potential observers, no trace evidence connecting him to the crime. This is why Harry teaches him to be meticulous, to plan every detail, to leave nothing to chance. Harry drills these rules into Dexter obsessively. They spend years working on them, refining them, testing them. They go on hunting trips, where Harry teaches Dexter to track, to kill quickly and efficiently, to process an animal and dispose of the remains without leaving evidence. It's training disguised as father-son bonding. They discuss the psychology of murder, how to read people, how to identify other killers by their behaviour patterns. Harry is a cop with decades of experience. He knows how killers think, how they operate, how they get caught. He teaches Dexter all of it, but inverted. Not how to catch killers, but how to be one and never get caught. Dexter absorbs it all. He's intelligent, methodical, patient. The code becomes his religion, his moral compass, the only thing giving his life structure and meaning. Without it, he's just a hollow shell pretending to be human. With it, he has purpose. He's removing dangerous people from the world. He's serving a kind of justice, even if it's a twisted version. But here's the tragedy that doesn't fully come out until years later, until Dexter is an adult and Harry's long dead. Harry couldn't live with what he created. He gave Dexter the code, spent years teaching him to be a functioning serial killer. But when confronted with the reality of it, with what his son had actually become, Harry couldn't handle it. In Dexter's early 20s, after finishing his medical residency and starting his first kills under the code, Dexter wanted to share his success with Harry. He wanted approval, validation that he was doing it right, following the rules perfectly. So he brought Harry to see one of his kills. Juan Reynes, a nurse who was killing his patients. Dexter had him wrapped in plastic, ready for disposal. Everything was clean, professional, exactly according to the code. Harry took one look at the scene and vomited. Not because it was messy or unprofessional, because it was too perfect, because his son was standing there, proud of what he'd done, proud of being a killer. Harry saw what he'd created, truly saw it for the first time, and it broke him. He told Dexter to stay away from him. Those exact words. Stay away. 3 days later, Harry had a fatal heart attack. The official cause of death was cardiac arrest, brought on by years of stress and poor health, but Dexter realizes much later that it was probably suicide. Harry couldn't live with the guilt of what he'd done to his son. He'd turned a traumatized child into a methodical killer, given him rules to justify murder, and when faced with the result, Harry took the coward's way out. The code becomes Dexter's inheritance, from a father who couldn't bear to face what he'd created. It's brilliant and terrible. It gives Dexter structure, purpose, a way to channel his darkness into something that at least removes other killers from the world. But it also traps him. He can never be normal. He can never truly connect with people. He's forever pretending, forever hiding, forever alone with his dark passenger. And the dark passenger. That's what Dexter calls the thing inside him that craves blood, that needs to kill. He personifies it as separate from himself, a passenger riding along in his body, demanding tribute. It's a coping mechanism, a way to distance himself from his actions. The dark passenger made me do it. The dark passenger needed to feed. But really, there's no passenger. There's just Dexter, shaped by trauma into something that looks human, but functions more like a predator wearing a person suit. The shipping container trauma is the answer to every question about Dexter Morgan. Why does he feel nothing? The trauma locked away his emotions as a survival mechanism. Why is he obsessed with blood? Because he sat in his mother's blood for 3 days, and that image, that smell, that feeling is seared into his brain at the deepest level. Why does he need to kill? Because violence is the only thing that makes him feel anything approaching normal, the only thing that quiets the screaming in his head from memories he can't fully access, but that haunts him anyway. Everything Dexter becomes, everything he does, every kill, every relationship, every decision. It all traces back to that container in 1973. A 3-year-old boy watching his mother get murdered in the most brutal way possible. Then sitting with her remains for days became Dexter Morgan, blood spatter analyst by day, serial killer by night. Let's talk about what Dexter does in practical terms, because while the code provides the moral framework, Dexter develops an incredibly detailed methodology for selecting, tracking, capturing, killing, and disposing of his victims. It's forensic science turned inside out, using his knowledge to commit the perfect crime over and over. Victim selection is where everything starts. Dexter doesn't just randomly pick killers off the street. He's methodical. Often his victims come through his work at Miami Metro Police Department. He's literally standing over crime scenes of unsolved murders, processing evidence, analysing blood spatter. And when the police can't make a case, when a killer walks free on a technicality or lack of evidence, Dexter takes notes. He keeps files, physical files in some cases, mental files in others. A name here, a pattern there. He reads police reports, studies case files, listens to his sister Deborah talk about her cases. Other times, he hears about criminals through the news, through courthouse gossip, through the network of information that flows through any police department. Once he identifies a potential target, the research phase begins. This is where Dexter's patience and thoroughness shine. He needs absolute certainty. The code demands proof, irrefutable evidence that this person is a killer who will kill again. So Dexter investigates like the world's most dedicated detective, except he's not building a case for court. He's building justification for murder. He breaks into their homes while they're out. Not to kill them, not yet, just to learn. He plants listening devices. He installs hidden cameras. He goes through their belongings, their computers, their trash. He's looking for trophies, evidence, anything that confirms what he suspects. Serial killers almost always keep something from their victims. A photo, a piece of jewellery, a news clipping. Dexter knows this because he's a serial killer himself. He keeps blood slides. The research often takes weeks or even months. Dexter will follow potential victims to understand their routines, their habits, their weaknesses. He learns where they work, where they eat, where they're vulnerable. He studies their psychology, reading books about their particular type of killing, understanding their motivations. By the time Dexter decides to act, he knows his victim better than their own family does. This research often reveals that his victims are actively hunting new targets. A pattern emerges. They're escalating. They're getting bolder. And Dexter knows that every day he waits, someone else might die. This adds urgency, but he never rushes. Rushing leads to mistakes, and mistakes lead to getting caught. The first rule of the code is don't get caught. When Dexter has his proof and his plan, the capture phase begins. This is the most dangerous part. His victim is at their most alert. They're most capable of fighting back or attracting attention. Dexter needs to take them down quickly, quietly, without witnesses. His weapon of choice is M99, a powerful animal tranquilizer. He keeps a supply hidden in his apartment, though getting access to it is always a risk. Sometimes he uses his police connections, requisitioning it through fake paperwork. Other times, he steals it from veterinary clinics or buys it on the black market. The drug works within seconds when injected. The victim becomes disoriented, loses muscle control, and collapses. Dexter typically ambushes them in parking lots, in their homes, in isolated areas where no one will see the attack. He approaches from behind, syringe ready, and injects them in the neck. They barely have time to register what's happening before the M99 takes effect. He catches them as they fall, loads them into his vehicle, and drives away. To any observer who might glance over, it looks like someone helping a drunk friend to their car. Dexter drives a small, nondescript SUV. It's not flashy, not memorable, the kind of vehicle you see 100 times a day without noticing. The back is equipped with plastic sheeting, just in case his victim bleeds during transport. Everything is planned. Everything is controlled. He drives them to the location he's prepared, what he calls his kill room. Dexter scouts these locations days or weeks in advance. Abandoned buildings are ideal. Closed businesses, foreclosed homes, empty warehouses. He needs somewhere he can work undisturbed for several hours. Somewhere with no security cameras, no neighbours, no chance of interruption. Once he's found the right location, Dexter visits it multiple times before the actual kill. He checks for signs of homeless people or squatters. He maps out escape routes. He makes sure there's vehicle access, that he can pull right up without being seen. And then, usually, the day of the kill, he arrives hours early to set up. The kill room setup is Dexter's signature. He covers every surface with heavy-duty plastic sheeting. The floor, the walls, even the ceiling if needed. He uses painter's plastic, the thick kind, and secures it with duct tape. The room transforms into a sterile, contained environment where blood can spill without leaving evidence. In the centre, he places his kill table. Usually, it's a workbench or sturdy table he finds in the location, though sometimes he brings his own. He wraps it in plastic, secures his victim to it with shrink wrap, the kind used for shipping pallets. The shrink wrap is tight, restricting movement, but it's also transparent. His victims can see everything. On a nearby surface, Dexter arranges his tools with surgical precision. Knives of various sizes, a bone saw, garbage bags, cleaning supplies. Everything is organised, everything has its place. This isn't chaos, this is ritual. On the walls behind where his victim will wake up, Dexter pins photographs. These are images of the victim's crimes. Their victims, crime scenes, evidence. If he's killing someone who murdered 5 people, he puts up photos of all 5 victims. This isn't for Dexter's benefit. He knows what they did. He's memorized it. The photos are for them. When the M99 wears off and his victim wakes up, they're naked, wrapped tight in plastic, on the table, unable to move. The first thing they see when their eyes focus is their own victims staring down at them. It's psychological warfare. Dexter wants them to understand this isn't random. This is justice. Twisted vigilante justice, but justice nonetheless. Dexter confronts them about what they've done. He presents his evidence. Some victims try to deny it, but the photos don't lie. Some try to justify their actions, to explain why their victims deserve to die. Dexter listens. He's patient. He wants them to understand why this is happening. Wants them to face what they've done. Some beg. They promise to stop killing, to turn themselves in, to do anything if Dexter just lets them go. He considers each case individually, but the code is clear. These people have killed. They will kill again. The justice system failed. Dexter is their final judgment. Some laugh. These are the ones Dexter finds most interesting. The true sociopaths, the ones who kill for pleasure and feel no remorse. They recognize Dexter as one of their own. They try to connect with him, to appeal to his dark passenger. They don't beg because they understand begging won't work. Instead, they try to talk their way out, to convince Dexter they're the same, that he should let them live. These conversations never last long. Dexter isn't interested in bonding with his victims. He's not interested in their philosophies or justifications. He's there to do a job, to follow the code, to feed his dark passenger. Before the kill, Dexter performs his signature ritual. He makes a small, precise cut on his victim's cheek. Not deep, just enough to draw blood. He collects a single drop on a microscope slide, carefully labelled with the victim's name and the date. This blood slide goes into his collection, hidden in a wooden box in his apartment. It's his only real vulnerability, the one piece of evidence that connects him to all his kills. Harry taught him never to take trophies, that trophies get killers caught. But Dexter can't help himself. He needs something to mark each kill, to prove it happened, to prove he exists. Then comes the kill itself. Dexter typically uses a large knife, driving it into the victim's chest or throat. It's quick. This is important. Dexter isn't a sadist. He doesn't torture his victims beyond the psychological warfare of making them face what they've done. The actual death is fast, efficient, professional. He's an executioner, not a torturer. The blood flows, contained by the plastic. This is why the kill room is so carefully prepared. Blood spatter is Dexter's specialty at work, and he uses that knowledge to control it in his kills. The plastic contains everything. When the victim is dead, Dexter begins the cleanup process. Disposal methods evolve throughout Dexter's killing career. In the early years, he uses his boat, Slice of Life, to dump bodies in the Gulf Stream. He dismembers them first using his bone saw to cut the body into manageable pieces. Each piece goes into a separate garbage bag, weighted with rocks. He drives his boat out into the deep water, past the reef, and drops the bags overboard. The Gulf Stream current carries them out to sea, to where they'll never be found. Even if a bag somehow washes up, the decomposition and sea life would make identification nearly impossible. Later, as he gets more experienced and more paranoid about his boat being tracked, Dexter experiments with other methods. He buries bodies in remote locations. He uses acid baths to dissolve remains. In one case, he actually uses a trash processing plant, letting industrial machinery destroy the evidence. The goal is always the same though. No body, no evidence, no connection to Dexter Morgan. The blood slides remain his only constant. Every kill adds another slide to his collection. By the time of the original series, he has over 100 slides, dating back to his very first kill as a young adult. The box sits in his air conditioning unit, hidden but not destroyed. He tells himself it's safe, that no one will ever find it. But deep down, Dexter knows these slides are a ticking time bomb. Eventually, someone will find them, and when they do, his entire carefully constructed life will collapse. Now let's talk about Dexter's life in Miami, because while the killing is what defines him, it's his normal life that makes the killing possible. He's a blood spatter analyst for Miami Metro Police Department, and he's genuinely good at his job. This isn't just a cover, though it serves that purpose perfectly. Dexter has a real talent for reading crime scenes, for understanding how blood moves and falls and tells the story of violence. His office is in the forensics lab, a sterile space filled with microscopes, evidence bags, and the constant smell of chemicals. His colleagues include Vince Masuka, the sex-obsessed but brilliant forensic technician who handles DNA analysis and trace evidence. Masuka is constantly making inappropriate jokes, hitting on women, being generally gross. But he's also one of the best at what he does, and Dexter respects that, as much as Dexter respects anyone. Then there's Angel Batista, a homicide detective who becomes one of Dexter's closest friends, or at least as close as Dexter allows anyone to get. Angel is warm, genuine, passionate about his work. He's been through his share of personal problems, divorces and relationship drama, but he remains fundamentally good. Dexter studies Angel like an anthropologist studying a foreign culture. What does it mean to be good? What does genuine emotion look like? How does a normal person form friendships and connections? Angel is Dexter's template for normal human behavior. Maria LaGuerta is the head of the homicide department for much of the series. She's ambitious, political, sometimes ruthless in her pursuit of advancement. But she's also a skilled detective who genuinely cares about solving murders. Her relationship with Dexter is professional, cordial. She has no idea what he is, though she comes dangerously close to figuring it out several times throughout the series. And then there's Sergeant James Dokes, the one person at Miami Metro who suspects something is wrong with Dexter from the very beginning. Dokes is former Special Forces, a man who has seen and done terrible things in his military service. He recognises something in Dexter, a darkness, a wrongness. He can't prove anything, but his instincts scream that Dexter Morgan is not who he pretends to be. Dokes watches Dexter. He follows him. He confronts him multiple times, getting right up in his face, trying to provoke a reaction that would confirm his suspicions. "I'm watching you, Morgan," becomes Dokes' constant refrain, and Dexter knows he's being watched, knows Dokes is dangerous, but he can't kill him. Dokes hasn't killed anyone, at least not outside of military operations. He doesn't fit the code, so Dexter has to outmaneuver him, stay one step ahead, maintain his cover while under constant surveillance. The tension between Dexter and Dokes runs through the first 2 seasons of the series, building to a confrontation that changes everything. But we'll get to that in detail when we cover the major story arcs. Dexter's sister, Deborah Morgan, works at Miami Metro as well. She starts in Vice, working undercover as a prostitute to catch Johns and pimps. She hates it. She's foul-mouthed, tough, desperate to prove herself as a real detective. Deborah is the one person Dexter genuinely cares about, or at least comes closest to caring about. She's his foster sister, raised in the same house. And while she doesn't know about the shipping container or what Dexter really is, she's the only person whose opinion matters to him. Deborah hero worships their father, Harry. She became a cop to follow in his footsteps, to make him proud. She doesn't know about the code, doesn't know that Harry was training Dexter to be a killer. To her, Harry was a great cop and a great father. Dexter never corrects this image. What would be the point? Let her have her memories. Throughout the series, Deborah's journey takes her from vice to homicide, to eventually becoming lieutenant. She works her way up through skill, determination, and a willingness to do whatever it takes to close cases. But her personal life is a disaster. She falls for the wrong men repeatedly. She makes impulsive decisions. She's the opposite of Dexter in many ways, all emotion and gut instinct, where he's all calculation and control. The moment when Deborah discovers what Dexter really is becomes one of the most devastating scenes in the series. It happens at the end of season 6. She's been in therapy, processing her feelings, trying to understand why all her relationships fail, and her therapist suggests something that makes her uncomfortable. She might have feelings for Dexter, not sisterly feelings, romantic feelings. Deborah is horrified by this suggestion, denies it, but it gets into her head. She starts noticing things about Dexter, wondering if there's truth to it. And then she follows him one night. She sees him at an abandoned church, and when she goes inside, she finds him standing over a body, knife in hand, plastic-wrapped kill room all around him. Travis Marshall, the Doomsday Killer, dead at Dexter's feet. The look on Deborah's face in that moment is heartbreaking. Everything she thought she knew about her brother, about her family, about her life, shatters in an instant. And Dexter looks back at her, knowing there's no talking his way out of this, no explanation that will make it okay. She's seen him. She knows. What happens next defines the rest of the series. Deborah doesn't turn him in. She's a cop sworn to uphold the law, but he's her brother. She loves him. So she becomes complicit in his crimes, helping him cover up evidence, lying to her colleagues, compromising everything she believes in to protect him. And it destroys her. The guilt, the moral compromise, the weight of knowing what Dexter is and choosing to keep his secret. It eats away at her until there's barely anything left of the woman she was. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go back and talk about Dexter's victims, the major villains who push him to his limits and force him to question the code itself. Season 1 introduces us to the Ice Truck Killer, a serial killer who's been cutting up prostitutes and draining their blood before displaying their bodies in theatrical, horrifying tableaus. The police are baffled. The kills are clean, professional, no evidence left behind. And Dexter is fascinated. This killer is good. This killer understands blood the way Dexter does. This killer is playing a game. The killer starts leaving clues specifically for Dexter. A severed limb, a frozen truck. Messages that only Dexter would understand. It's like the killer knows him, understands him, is trying to communicate with him, and Dexter is drawn in despite knowing he should stay far away. The truth is devastating. The ice truck killer is Brian Moser, Dexter's biological brother. The brother who was taken away when they were children, who shared that shipping container trauma, who understands exactly what Dexter is because he's the same thing. Brian tracked Dexter down, has been watching him for years, and now he's ready to reunite. But Brian's idea of reunion is twisted. He wants Dexter to kill with him, to embrace what they are, to stop pretending to be human. He wants them to be brothers in blood in the most literal sense. And he proves his devotion by capturing Deborah, wrapping her in plastic, putting her on a kill table, exactly like the one where their mother died. He gives Dexter a choice: kill Deborah and embrace your true nature, or reject me and stay trapped in Harry's code. Dexter chooses the code. He chooses Deborah, and he kills Brian, his own brother, wrapping him in plastic and ending his life with a knife to the chest. It's the first time Dexter kills someone who truly understands him, someone who could have been a companion in his darkness. And it hurts. As much as Dexter is capable of being hurt, this does it. But the code is clear. Brian killed innocent people. He had to die. Season 2 is where everything nearly falls apart for Dexter. A group of scuba divers discover his underwater dumping ground. Bags of dismembered bodies start washing up. The media dubs the killer the Bay Harbor Butcher, and suddenly Miami Metro is hunting Dexter without knowing it. The FBI brings in Special Agent Frank Lundy, a legendary profiler who's closed more serial killer cases than anyone else in the Bureau. Lundy is smart, methodical, and he starts building a profile of the butcher that's uncomfortably accurate. He theorizes the killer works in law enforcement based on the precision of the kills and the knowledge of police procedure. He narrows the suspect pool, and Dexter knows it's only a matter of time before someone makes the connection. Meanwhile, Sergeant Dokes has been watching Dexter more closely than ever. He's convinced Dexter is hiding something, even if he doesn't know what. When Dexter's kill tools go missing from his apartment, Dokes is the prime suspect. And when the Bay Harbor Butcher case heats up, Dokes follows Dexter to a storage container where he's keeping his supplies. Dexter has to make a choice. Kill Dokes, violating the code since Dokes hasn't murdered anyone, or let Dokes expose him. He chooses a middle path. He captures Dokes and locks him in a cage in a remote cabin in the Everglades. Dexter needs time to think, to figure out what to do. He brings Dokes food and water, keeps him alive, but trapped. The situation is impossible. Dexter can't kill Dokes and stay true to the code. But he can't let him go without being exposed. Day after day, Dokes pleads, threatens, reasons with Dexter. And Dexter visits, bringing supplies, buying time, hoping for a solution that doesn't exist. Enter Lila West, a British woman Dexter met through Narcotics Anonymous meetings he was attending as part of maintaining his normal life cover. Lila is damaged, unstable, obsessive. She develops an intense fixation on Dexter, convinced they're kindred spirits, soulmates in darkness. When Dexter tries to distance himself, Lila stalks him, following him to the cabin where he's holding Dokes. She sees the setup, understands immediately what Dexter is, and instead of being horrified, she's excited. She thinks this proves they belong together. Dexter tells her to leave, that he'll handle the Dokes situation himself. But Lila has other plans. She returns to the cabin alone, confronts Dokes in his cage, and makes a decision that solves Dexter's problem but creates a whole new nightmare. She opens a gas valve and lights a match. The cabin explodes with Dokes still inside, along with all of Dexter's evidence from his other kills. The explosion destroys everything. Dokes is dead, burned beyond recognition, but surrounded by evidence that makes him look like the Bay Harbor Butcher. The police close the case. Dokes is posthumously blamed for the murders. Special Agent Lundy leaves Miami, and Dexter is safe. But now Lila knows what he is, and she's proven she's willing to kill to protect him, or to keep him, or just because she's completely insane. Dexter has to deal with her, has to make her disappear, and when he confronts her, In Paris, where she's fled, he kills her, making it look like an accident. She becomes one of his few kills who didn't fit the code perfectly. She was dangerous, she knew too much, and she had to die. Dexter justifies it to himself, but it's a compromise, a crack in the foundation of everything Harry taught him. Season 3 explores whether Dexter can have a friend, someone who understands the code and kills alongside him. Miguel Prado is an assistant district attorney, ambitious and charismatic. When Dexter kills a man who's attacking Miguel's brother, Miguel witnesses the aftermath and figures out what Dexter is. But instead of turning him in, Miguel is grateful. He's fascinated, and he wants in. Dexter makes a decision that Harry's ghost, which appears to him regularly as a manifestation of his conscience, warns against. He teaches Miguel the code. They start hunting together. For the first time in his life, Dexter has someone who knows his secret and accepts it. Someone who shares his darkness. It's intoxicating. Dexter feels almost human in these moments, bonding with a friend over shared kills. But Miguel doesn't follow the code. He sees it as a tool for personal gain, not a moral framework. He uses Dexter's techniques to kill his enemies, people who haven't murdered anyone, people who just got in his way politically or professionally. When Dexter confronts him about breaking the code, Miguel laughs it off. The code is just rules, he says. We make our own rules. Dexter realizes his mistake. He can't share his darkness. The code only works because Dexter follows it absolutely. Miguel has corrupted it, twisted it into something selfish and cruel. And now Dexter has to kill his friend. He captures Miguel, wraps him in plastic, and explains why this has to happen. Miguel pleads, appeals to their friendship, promises to follow the code from now on. But Dexter knows better. Miguel fits the code now. He's a killer who will kill again. The knife goes in, and Dexter loses the closest thing to a friend he'll ever have. This season also sees Dexter marry Rita Bennett, the woman he's been dating as part of his normal life cover. Rita is a damaged woman with 2 children from an abusive ex-husband. She and Dexter started dating because she didn't want sex, traumatized by her ex, and Dexter didn't want genuine intimacy. It was perfect for both of them. But over time, something unexpected happened. Dexter started to care about Rita and her children. Not love exactly. Dexter doesn't think he's capable of love, but something close to it. Attachment, protectiveness, a desire to keep them safe. Marrying Rita is calculated, part of his cover. A serial killer with a wife and stepchildren looks normal, safe, beyond suspicion. But it's also something more. Dexter wants to try being normal. He wants to see if he can build a life beyond the code, beyond killing. The wedding happens, and Dexter becomes a husband and stepfather, roles he never imagined for himself. Season 4 is where everything changes. The Trinity killer, Arthur Mitchell, has been operating for over 30 years, moving from city to city, maintaining a perfect family man facade while committing ritualistic murders in a specific 3-part cycle: bathtub drowning, fall from height, bludgeoning. Same pattern repeated in different cities, dozens of victims spanning decades. Dexter becomes obsessed with Trinity. Here's a killer who's managed to maintain a normal family life while killing regularly. He has a wife, children, a job, community respect. He's everything Dexter is trying to be. Maybe Dexter thinks Trinity can teach him how to balance both lives successfully. Dexter infiltrates Trinity's life, posing as a construction worker, helping to build houses for charity. He gets close to Arthur's family, sees how he interacts with them, studies his technique for compartmentalization. But what Dexter discovers is horrifying. Arthur Mitchell isn't balancing 2 lives successfully. He's a monster at home too. He terrorizes his family. His wife and children live in constant fear. His daughter tried to run away, and he dragged her back. His son is cowed and broken. The perfect family is a nightmare. Dexter also learns the origin of Trinity's kill cycle. Each murder represents a trauma from Arthur's childhood. His sister's bathtub drowning, his mother's fall, the beating he gave his father. Arthur has been killing to reenact and process these traumas for 30 years, and it's never enough. It will never be enough. The relationship between Dexter and Trinity is complex. Arthur recognizes something in Dexter. Not that he's a killer, but that he's different, that he's wearing a mask. They have conversations about family, about darkness, about control, and Dexter realizes that this man can't teach him anything positive. Trinity isn't successfully balancing his lives. He's failing at both. When Dexter finally captures Arthur, wraps him in plastic, and prepares for the kill, Arthur looks at him and sees clearly for the first time. He realizes what Dexter is, and his last words are devastating. It's already over. Dexter doesn't understand what he means. He kills Arthur and disposes of the body. He goes home to his family, ready to celebrate Harrison's birthday with Rita. But when he arrives, the house is empty. He finds Rita in the bathroom, dead in the bathtub, exactly like Trinity's first victim in each cycle. Blood everywhere. And in the bathtub with her, crying, sitting in her blood, is baby Harrison. The same trauma Dexter experienced in that shipping container has now happened to his son. The cycle is repeating. This moment breaks something fundamental in Dexter. Rita's death is on him. If he'd killed Trinity sooner, if he hadn't been playing this game of trying to learn from him, Rita would be alive. His attempt to have a normal family, to balance his two lives, has resulted in tragedy. The lesson is clear. Dexter Morgan cannot have normal. He cannot protect the people he cares about. His darkness inevitably destroys everything it touches. Season 5 deals with the aftermath of Rita's death. Dexter is drowning in grief, or what passes for grief in someone like him. He's angry, lost, going through the motions of life, while feeling nothing. He takes Harrison and moves back into his old apartment. He struggles with being a single father while maintaining his kill schedule. Then he meets Lumen Pierce, a woman who was kidnapped, raped, and tortured by a group of men over months before she escaped. She's traumatized, terrified, and she's seeking revenge on her attackers. When Dexter discovers what happened to her, something unexpected happens. He feels empathy. Maybe it's because she reminds him of his own trauma, of Rita, of innocence destroyed, but he offers to help her. Together, Dexter and Lumen hunt down the men who tortured her. It's a revenge arc, pure and simple. These men aren't exactly serial killers in the traditional sense, but they're close enough. They've hurt multiple women. They'll do it again. And Lumen needs to face her demons and kill them herself. Dexter teaches her his techniques. They kill together. And for a brief time, Dexter experiences something he thought impossible: connection. Understanding. Lumen knows what he is, knows what he does, and she doesn't run away. She joins him in it. They share darkness the way normal couples share joy. But after the last of her attackers is dead, after the revenge is complete, Lumen changes. The darkness leaves her. She processes her trauma, finds closure, and realizes she doesn't need to kill anymore. She can heal. She can return to normal life. And she tells Dexter she has to leave, that she can't be part of his world anymore. It's devastating for Dexter because it proves what he's always suspected. Normal people can heal. Normal people can process trauma and move on. But Dexter can't. His darkness is permanent. Lumen gets to walk away into the light, but Dexter is trapped in shadow forever. It's not a judgment. It's just the truth of what he is. Season 6 introduces religion and apocalyptic thinking into Dexter's world. The Doomsday Killers are staging elaborate murders based on the Book of Revelation, creating tableaus that reference biblical prophecy. It's theatrical, insane, and the police are struggling to understand the motivation. Dexter discovers the killers are Professor James Geller, a religious scholar, and his former teaching assistant, Travis Marshall. They're working together to bring about their version of the apocalypse, killing people to fulfill prophecy. But as Dexter investigates, he discovers something shocking. Geller is dead. He's been dead for years. Travis is schizophrenic, hallucinating Geller's presence and committing all the murders alone while believing his dead mentor is guiding him. This hits close to home for Dexter because he talks to dead Harry. Harry's ghost appears to him regularly, offering advice and commentary, but Harry is obviously not real, just a manifestation of Dexter's conscience, his internalized code. Is Dexter's relationship with Ghost Harry any different from Travis's relationship with his hallucinated professor? It's an uncomfortable question. Dexter tries to save Travis, to teach him the code, to redirect his killing urge into something structured and controlled. But Travis is too far gone. His psychosis is too deep, and the police are closing in. Dexter has to kill him, staging it to look like Travis died in a confrontation with police. But Deborah sees it happen. She arrives at the church where Dexter has Travis on his kill table, walks in expecting to find her brother in danger, and instead finds him standing over a wrapped body, knife in hand, blood everywhere. She sees what he is, she knows, and their relationship, their entire family dynamic, can never be the same. Season 7 explores the aftermath of Deborah's discovery. She's in shock, denial, anger. She confronts Dexter, demands explanations. He tells her about the code, about only killing killers, about Harry training him. She's horrified, but also conflicted. He's her brother. She loves him, but he's also a serial killer. What does a good cop do in this situation? Deborah decides to protect him, to keep his secret, even though it goes against everything she believes in. She helps him cover up evidence. She lies to her colleagues. She becomes complicit in his crimes, and it destroys her from the inside. This season also introduces Hannah McKay, a woman who killed multiple people with her boyfriend before he was caught, and she got immunity by testifying against him. Dexter is assigned to investigate whether Hannah was more involved than she claimed, and he discovers she definitely was. She's a poisoner, a black widow who killed for money and pleasure, and got away with it. Dexter should kill her. She fits the code, but he's attracted to her, and more importantly, she understands him. Hannah knows what she is and doesn't apologize for it. She's not pretending to be normal. She owns her darkness. And when she figures out what Dexter is, she's not horrified, she's intrigued. They start a relationship, 2 serial killers dating, and it's the most honest relationship Dexter has ever had. But their relationship causes tension with Deborah. Hannah is a killer who should be in prison. Deborah can barely tolerate Dexter's killing, and now he's dating another killer? It's too much. Deborah tries to arrest Hannah. Dexter has to choose between his sister and his girlfriend. He chooses Deborah, helping to gather evidence against Hannah that forces her to flee Miami. The season's main antagonist is actually Maria Laguerta. She's reopened the Bay Harbor butcher case, convinced that Dokes wasn't the real killer. Her investigation leads her closer and closer to the truth. She discovers evidence that Dexter was involved, finds connections between the butcher's victims and Dexter's past. She's about to expose him, about to destroy everything. Dexter and Deborah are trapped. They can't kill LaGuerta without violating the code. She's not a murderer, but if they let her expose Dexter, his life is over. Harrison loses his father. Deborah's career is destroyed for protecting him. Everything falls apart. Deborah makes the choice. She shoots LaGuerta, killing her to protect Dexter. A lieutenant in Miami Metro Police Department commits murder to save her serial killer brother. The act shatters Deborah completely. She falls into depression, starts using drugs, makes increasingly reckless decisions. She can't live with what she's done, can't forgive herself, but also can't turn Dexter in because that would make LaGuerta's murder meaningless. Season 8, the final season, introduces Dr. Evelyn Vogel, a neuropsychiatrist who helped Harry create the code. She's been studying psychopaths for decades, and she considers Dexter her masterpiece. She worked with Harry to develop the rules that would allow Dexter to kill without getting caught, to channel his darkness productively. Dexter is shocked to learn there was someone else involved in creating the code, someone who understood what he was even better than Harry did. Vogel calls him her perfect psychopath. She's proud of what he's become, and she wants his help hunting another killer, her former patient who's murdering people and leaving pieces of their brains as calling cards. The brain surgeon, Oliver Saxon, is revealed to be Vogel's biological son. She had him institutionalized as a child for killing his brother, and he's been harboring rage toward her ever since. He's killing people who wronged him, sending their brain tissue to Vogel as a message. The season is messy, unfocused, criticized by fans, has a disappointing ending to the series. But there are powerful moments. Deborah's spiral continues to the point where she tries to kill both herself and Dexter in a murder-suicide by driving their car into a lake. Dexter saves them both, but the message is clear. Deborah can't live with what she's become, what Dexter has turned her into. In the series finale, Hurricane Laura is bearing down on Miami. Dexter plans to escape with Hannah and Harrison, to start a new life in Argentina, where Hannah has connections. Deborah is shot by Saxon and ends up in the hospital, critically injured, but expected to recover. Dexter visits her, relieved. But then complications arise. Deborah suffers a stroke and is declared brain dead. Dexter makes the decision to take her off life support. He wheels her bed out of the hospital during the chaos of the hurricane evacuation, loads her onto his boat, and takes her out into the storm. This is his fault. Everything that happened to Deborah, every choice she made to protect him, led to this moment. He dumps her body into the ocean the way he's dumped so many others, giving her a killer's burial. Then Dexter drives his boat directly into the hurricane, attempting suicide. The boat is destroyed. Everyone assumes he's dead. Hannah escapes to Argentina with Harrison. Miami Metro mourns him, but Dexter survived. He washed up somewhere, rescued himself, and made a choice. He can't be around people he cares about. His darkness destroys them. So he exiles himself to a cabin in Oregon, working as a lumberjack, living completely alone. The final shot shows him staring at the camera, empty, isolated, choosing permanent loneliness over ever hurting someone he loves again. It's a bleak ending, criticized for being unsatisfying, but in some ways, it's the only ending that makes sense for Dexter Morgan. He can't die because his survival instinct is too strong. He can't be caught because he's too careful. And he can't be with the people he loves because he inevitably destroys them. So he lives alone, forever, which might be the cruelest punishment of all. But that's not the end of Dexter's story. In 2021, Showtime brought the character back for a limited series called Dexter New Blood. It's set 10 years after the original series finale, and it shows us what Dexter has become in his self-imposed exile. He's living in a small town called Iron Lake in upstate New York, going by the name Jim Lindsay. He works at a sporting goods store, dates the town's police chief, Angela Bishop, and has suppressed his dark passenger for 10 years. No kills in a decade. He attends support group meetings for various issues, mostly just to blend in and maintain his cover. He seems almost normal, almost content, but we know better. The dark passenger is always there, waiting. The town of Iron Lake is small, isolated, the kind of place where everyone knows everyone. It's the opposite of Miami's chaos and anonymity. Here, Dexter can't disappear into crowds. Every action is noticed, every absence questioned. It's challenging for someone who spent his life hiding in plain sight, but it's also safe, or so he thinks. Then Harrison shows up. He's a teenager now, having spent the last 10 years with Hannah McKay in Argentina. But Hannah died from cancer, and Harrison tracked down his father, the man who abandoned him a decade ago. He shows up at Dexter's door, and everything Dexter built crumbles. Harrison is damaged. He exhibits signs of the same darkness Dexter has, the same violent urges. He was born in blood, just like Dexter, and he's carried that trauma his whole life. He cuts himself, has anger issues, gets into fights. He's searching for answers about who he is and why he's broken, and he's looking to his father for guidance. Dexter sees himself in Harrison, and it terrifies him. He thought he could protect his son by leaving, by staying away, but the darkness found Harrison anyway. Maybe it was always there, genetic and inevitable, or maybe the trauma of being left, of losing his mother Rita and then his stepmother Hannah, created new damage. Either way, Harrison is Dexter's responsibility now. The town has its own darkness. Women from the local indigenous community have been disappearing for years, and no one seems to care because they're Native American, marginalized, easy to ignore. Angela, the police chief, is one of the few people who takes it seriously. She's been investigating, trying to find connections, but she lacks resources and support. Enter Kurt Caldwell, Iron Lake's local billionaire. He owns most of the town, funds local programs, presents himself as a pillar of the community. Everyone loves Kurt, but Dexter's instincts tell him something is wrong. Kurt's son Matt goes missing, and Kurt claims Matt is alive and called him from New York. But Dexter knows Matt is dead because he accidentally killed him in a hunting accident and disposed of the body. Kurt is hiding his son's death, which means he's hiding something bigger. Dexter starts investigating, slipping back into old patterns, researching Kurt's background, looking for evidence of crimes. And what he discovers is horrifying. Kurt is the killer of the missing indigenous women. He's been hunting them for years, killing them in a ritualistic way, preserving their bodies in an underground bunker he's built in the woods. Kurt's kills are meticulous, almost reverent in his twisted way. He picks up young women who are travelling through or running away, offers them hospitality in a cabin he owns, feeds them a nice dinner, and then hunts them like animals. He shoots them with a high-powered rifle, killing them instantly, and then preserves their bodies in posed positions in his bunker. It's his private trophy room, his museum of death. Dexter realizes Kurt has to be stopped. The code is clear. Kurt is a serial killer who will kill again. Dexter begins preparing for the kill, building a new kill room, gathering supplies, falling back into the old rhythms. It feels right. The dark passenger has been waiting for this, starved for a decade, and now it's time to feed. But Harrison complicates everything. He's watching Dexter, noticing things, asking questions. Why does Dexter know so much about forensics? Why does he have access to police resources despite working at a sporting goods store? What is he hiding? Meanwhile, Angela is investigating Dexter. A true crime podcaster named Molly Park comes to Iron Lake researching the missing women, and she's good at her job. Too good. She starts connecting dots, finding patterns, asking questions that lead back to Dexter Morgan, the name Jim Lindsay used to be. Angela discovers Jim Lindsay is fake, that there's no record of him before he arrived in Iron Lake. She starts digging into who he really is, and then she makes the connection. Dexter Morgan, blood spatter analyst from Miami Metro, presumed dead in a boating accident. She finds photos, matches them to Jim. She researches his history and discovers things that don't add up. Why did so many killers die around him? Why did his wife Rita die in a way that perfectly matched a serial killer's method? The investigation leads Angela to the Bay Harbor butcher case. She reads the files, studies the evidence, and realizes Dokes couldn't have been the butcher. The timeline doesn't work, but Dexter Morgan was there, in Miami, working the case. Could he be the Bay Harbor butcher? The evidence starts to point that way. Dexter kills Kurt Caldwell in a confrontation that Harrison witnesses. Harrison sees his father strangle Kurt, sees the violence, the darkness, and instead of being horrified, Harrison feels relief. Finally, someone understands him. His father is like him. They share this darkness. It validates everything Harrison has been feeling. Dexter tries to explain the code to Harrison to teach him the rules that have guided his killing for decades. He wants to believe he can save his son the way Harry tried to save him. They can kill together, father and son, following the code, removing dangerous people from the world. It's a twisted form of bonding, but it's the only kind Dexter knows. But Harrison sees things differently. He's watched Dexter's actions throughout the series, seen the bodies pile up, watched his father lie to everyone around him. And Harrison makes a devastating observation. The code isn't about justice, it's about giving Dexter permission to do what he was going to do anyway. All those people Dexter killed, they deserved it, according to the code. But what about the collateral damage? Rita died because of Dexter. Deborah died because of Dexter. Lagerta died because of Dexter. How many innocent people have suffered or died because Dexter insisted on being who he is instead of turning himself in? The code doesn't prevent harm, it just justifies the harm Dexter causes. Angela arrests Dexter for the murder of Matt Caldwell. She has evidence, witnesses, enough to hold him, but she can't prove the Bay Harbor butcher case, not definitively. Dexter is in a cell, facing trial, and he knows he'll be convicted. Matt's death might not get him the death penalty, but it will put him in prison. And in prison, with his face all over the news as the suspected Bay Harbor butcher, he won't last long. Other inmates will kill him. Dexter escapes custody, killing a local cop named Logan in the process. It's a violation of the code. Logan hasn't killed anyone. He's a good cop, a friend to Angela, a decent man, but he's in Dexter's way, and Dexter kills him to escape. It's proof that the code was always flexible, always breakable when Dexter's survival was on the line. Harrison meets Dexter at a secluded location. Dexter has a plan to run, to disappear, to take Harrison with him. They can be fugitives together, father and son, killing their way across the country. But Harrison refuses. He's thought about it, processed everything he's learned, and he's made a decision. The code is a lie. Dexter has been lying to himself and everyone else his whole life. He's not a hero. He's not an avenger. He's just a serial killer who found a way to justify his compulsion, and now he's killed Logan, a good man, proving that he'll kill anyone when pushed. Harrison pulls out a gun and points it at his father. Dexter understands what's happening. His son is going to kill him. And instead of fighting or pleading, Dexter accepts it. He even encourages it. "You did good, we're up," he tells Harrison. This is the right thing. Dexter has caused too much harm. The world is better off without him. And if Harrison can kill his father, can end the cycle, maybe he'll be free of the darkness in a way Dexter never could be. Harrison pulls the trigger. Dexter Morgan dies in the snow, shot by his own son, the only ending that makes sense for a character defined by violence and isolation. Angela arrives, finds Dexter dead, finds Harrison with the gun, and she makes a choice. She lets Harrison go. She tells him to run, to get out of town, to start over somewhere else. It's not legal, not correct police procedure. But after everything Dexter has done, after all the people he's hurt, Angela decides Harrison deserves a chance at a normal life. The final shot is Harrison driving away from Iron Lake, tears on his face, free but also carrying the weight of patricide. Has he escaped the darkness, or has killing his father just planted new seeds of trauma that will haunt him forever? The series ends without answering that question. It's open, ambiguous, devastating. New Blood is a much better ending than the original series finale. It gives Dexter consequences. He doesn't get to escape to a cabin and live quietly. He doesn't get to abandon his son without repercussions. His past catches up with him. His code is exposed as the lie it always was, and he dies. Not as a hero, not in some grand gesture, but shot in the cold by the son he abandoned. It's fitting. It's tragic. It's what Dexter Morgan deserved. Now let's go backwards in time and talk about how it all began. Dexter. Original Sin is a prequel series that premiered in late 2024, showing Dexter in his early 20s, just starting his internship at Miami Metro and conducting his first kills under Harry's guidance. The show is set in 1991 Miami, a time when the city was gripped by the cocaine trade and violent crime was at an all-time high. The series opens with a flash forward to adult Dexter being rushed to the emergency room with a gunshot wound. Paramedics are fighting to save his life. This framing device lets us know that whatever happens in the prequel, Dexter survives. But it also raises questions. Who shot him? What led to this moment? The series promises to eventually answer these questions, connecting the prequel to the original timeline. Then we jump back to 1991. Dexter is fresh out of his medical residency. He's been practicing his skills on animals, following Harry's training, preparing for his first human kill. Harry is alive but not well. The stress of managing Dexter's urges, of creating and implementing the code, has taken a physical toll. He's had heart problems, anxiety issues. He's drowning in guilt about what he's done to his adoptive son. Dexter starts his internship at Miami Metro under Tanya Martin, the forensics supervisor. She's tough, demanding, skeptical of this young intern who seems too calm around dead bodies, but she's also impressed by his skills. Dexter has a natural talent for reading blood spatter, for understanding the story a crime scene tells. It's not surprising given his training and his nature, but Tanya doesn't know that. The Miami Metro we see in Original Sin is younger, rougher. Angel Batista is a rookie detective, eager to prove himself. Maria Laguerta is ambitious and sharp, already positioning herself for advancement. Captain Spencer runs the homicide department with an iron fist, and we see younger versions of characters from Dexter's past, filling in their backstories and relationships. Deborah is a rebellious teenager in this timeline. She's acting out, drinking, partying, trying to find her place in a family where she's always felt like an outsider. She doesn't understand the bond between Dexter and Harry, the secrets they share. She just knows she's excluded, and it hurts. The show explores her relationship with both of them, showing how the seeds of her future hero, worship of Harry, and complicated love for Dexter are planted in these years. Harry's relationship with Laura Moser is explored in flashbacks. We see how they met, how she became his informant, how their professional relationship developed into something more. We see Harry's guilt over the affair, his love for both Laura and his wife Doris, his impossible position, and we see the events leading to the shipping container, the investigation that went wrong, the choices that led to Laura's death. The show also reveals details about Hector Estrada's organization. Estrada is still operating in 1991, still a powerful drug lord. He knows Harry was the cop who sent Laura to infiltrate his operation. There's a lingering threat that Estrada might come after the Morgan family, might seek revenge for what happened. This creates tension, a sense of danger that hangs over the family. Dexter's first kill under the code is a major focus of the first season. Harry has been preparing him for this moment for years. They've gone over the rules countless times. Dexter has practiced on animals, honed his technique. But taking a human life is different. It's a line that once crossed can never be uncrossed. The victim is a nurse named Mary, someone Dexter encounters while Harry is hospitalized for his heart condition. Dexter notices she's been showing up in obituaries too often, that patients die on her shifts with suspicious frequency. He investigates, breaks into her home, finds trophies from her victims. She's an angel of death, a healthcare worker who kills patients for reasons Dexter can't fully understand. Power? Mercy? The thrill? It doesn't matter. She fits the code. She's killed multiple people and will kill again. Harry, from his hospital bed, gives Dexter permission. This is the moment they've been preparing for. Go ahead, stop her. Follow the code. Dexter plans meticulously. He scouts a location, prepares his kill room, gathers his supplies. When he captures Mary and confronts her with her crimes, she's terrified. She begs. She promises to stop. But Dexter knows better. Harry taught him that killers don't stop. Their compulsion is too strong. The knife goes in, and Dexter Morgan becomes a killer of humans, not just animals. The aftermath is complex. Dexter feels satisfaction, fulfillment, a sense that he's done something right. The dark passenger is fed, quieter for now, but he's also navigating the practical realities of disposal, of covering his tracks, of returning to normal life as if nothing happened. He makes mistakes in this first kill, small ones, but mistakes nonetheless. He keeps trophies he shouldn't. He's almost seen disposing of the body. Harry has to help him clean up, literally and figuratively. The show explores Harry's increasing guilt and health decline. Every kill Dexter commits, Harry feels responsible for. He created this. He taught his son to murder. And even though the code provides justification, even though Dexter only kills killers, Harry can't escape the fundamental horror of what he's done. The stress manifests physically. More heart problems, anxiety attacks, sleepless nights. Doris notices but doesn't understand. She thinks it's just job stress, cop stress. She has no idea what's really happening. Brian Moses' storyline is woven throughout Original Sin. We see glimpses of his life in institutions, his treatment by various doctors and social workers. He hasn't forgotten his brother. He's been tracking Dexter's life from afar, knowing the Morgans kept Dexter but sent him away. The rejection has festered into obsession and rage. The show hints that Brian is already killing, developing his own twisted version of what happened in that shipping container, preparing for an eventual reunion with Dexter. The season builds toward a confrontation between Dexter and Captain Spencer. Spencer is investigating a series of murders that we, the audience, know are Dexter's kills. He's getting too close, asking too many questions. And Dexter realizes Spencer might have to become a victim, might have to die to protect the secret. But Spencer hasn't killed anyone. He doesn't fit the code. This creates a dilemma that forces Dexter to question the rules Harry taught him. What happens when the code and survival come into conflict? The show also introduces young versions of some of Dexter's future victims and associates. We might see criminals who will eventually end up on Dexter's table years later. We see the beginnings of the infrastructure and relationships that will define Dexter's adult life. It's fan service in the best way, connecting the prequel to the original series through carefully planted seeds. Original Sin explores themes of nature versus nurture in Dexter's development. Was he born a killer, genetically predisposed to violence and sociopathy? Or did the shipping container trauma create what he became? The show suggests both are true. Dexter and Brian share genetics and experience the same trauma. Both became killers, but Dexter had Harry and the code, while Brian had nothing. The code doesn't make Dexter good, but it makes him functional, controlled, purposeful in his violence. The show also examines Harry's relationship with other cops at Miami Metro. Some respect him, some are jealous of his success, some suspect he's hiding something, though they don't know what. Harry has to navigate the politics of the department while secretly training his son to be a serial killer. The cognitive dissonance is destroying him, but he can't stop now. Dexter is already killing. The code is the only thing keeping him from becoming a monster. Tanya Martin's character is particularly interesting. In the original series timeline, she's just mentioned as Dexter's former supervisor, long retired or deceased by the time we meet adult Dexter. But in Original Sin, she's a key figure. She sees Dexter's potential, mentors him in forensics, and unknowingly teaches him techniques he'll use to commit and cover up murders. Their relationship is layered with dramatic irony. We know what Dexter is, what he'll become. She doesn't. Every lesson she teaches him is a weapon